Shalom Israel. This is Brother Stefano from WFI Trinidad. Come back at you with some precepts, right? Before I start, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai for the truth, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? And a mighty shalom to everyone here um, who's going to watch this video, right? Hopefully it was edifying. This video is not going to be long, right? It's just touching on some updates on Maduro and Trinidad and what does this mean for Trinidad, right? And all these other stuff, right? Because we know that Trinidad and Tobago is right next to Venezuela, right? And America has been using Trinidad and Tobago as a chief hub to even make all of this thing, come to pass and all of this happen, right? So we are doing our jobs as watchmen to just watch and see what's going on, right? Deciphering the good, deciphering the bad, right? And observing what's going on, right? So you have here BBC, right? The US says it has captured Venezuela's president Nicolas Maduro and his wife and launched large-scale strikes on the South American nation. Right, so about 3 a.m., 4 a.m., the US launched a strike um, against Venezuela, capturing Nicolas Maduro, right, the president of Venezuela, right? And what this means for Trinidad is that if anything, which we know something is going to go down, right, as always, right, we don't live in a time of peace anymore. But if once things goes down, Trinidad is not a safe place, right? The allies of Venezuela's, right, and all those who hate America is not just going to say, well, here what, we just hate America, because no. If so, then you wouldn't have Venezuela literally having all of this tension going on, right, with Trinidad, right? So is a lot of tension going on, a lot of things going on, and we ought to be watchful, right? So this Second Peter 3 and verse 10. So it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Right? So all of the destruction, all of the bombs, right? Certain laws, all the disasters of the earth is going to happen, right? Unexpectedly. Right? Just like the day of the Lord. Because nobody expected this to happen. Well, we know something was going to go down, right? But at the same time, nobody didn't know when. Nobody didn't know, well, this is the time or this is the hour, right? But we know now, right? So that is to show you how fast things to go, like from this to, you know, and people wasn't too long celebrating the so-called New Year's and enjoying life and being happy, just to say January the 3rd, this happens, right? For the so-called New Year, that's supposed to be good, and you just came from fireworks celebration and all these other stuff. You might have a long weekend just to hear this news, right? So that is how fast things could go, like from this to in a snap of a finger, right? You could be somewhere in some place vacation, and then you hear boom, war, right? So that's how fast things could go, right? So let's go back to the book of Second Peter 3 and 10. So it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Right? So just like this, right? The strike was unknown. People, was just worried, just you're up. It's just people in Venezuela hearing, things dropping and all the other stuff is the same thing for the destruction of the earth. Right? You also have the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago saying that early this morning, Saturday 3rd January 2026, the United States commenced military operations within the territory of Venezuela. Trinidad and Tobago is not a participant of any of these ongoing military operations. Trinidad and Tobago continue to maintain a peaceful relations with the people of Venezuela. Right? So she's trying to clear the air to make it seem like you know, well, she's trying to say that it wasn't all military, did it. It was just the U.S. and all the other stuff. But what she's trying to do also too is trying to make it seem like, Trinidad didn't have anything to do with the help of of this, right? This even happening, right? Because once again, America used Trinidad as a hub, right? They was just bringing the aircrafts down here, bringing the tools, the equipments, teaching men how to use the tools and equipments because they know the things that they are planning to do. They know how things could lead, how what things could lead to, right? So the training men, and you seen unexpected aircrafts and all these other stuff, right? You even had a lot of flights being delayed because once again unexpected aircrafts and all of these things, right? So she can't say that we didn't sorry, Trinidad didn't have any significance in helping them because it did, right? You even have radar, right? A radar, right? So it says breaking US installs radar at Tobago airport, right? So um a month or two ago, the US came and the US installed a radar. They said that how it was to ensure well, to help them stop drugs and all these other stuff, right? There was a lot of information said about it, but everybody doesn't know the true purpose of this radar. But I could tell you for sure that them setting up this radar close to Venezuela, guess what? It helped them with even launching the strike because they counted the cost, right? They didn't just randomly just say, well, here, what? Today, we're going to invade Venezuela, right? They didn't just randomly say that. So, yes, Trinidad has a chief significance in this whole US strike thing, right? So, if anything is to happen, for sure, Trinidad and Tobago is, in other words, going to get hit also too, right? Let me just get this article here, right? So you have here Trump. He had a live, right, a conference, 11 a.m., right, talking about what they did, what's the steps next, what they expect, right? So let's listen to what this devil had to say, right?
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in and we.
Right, so he says that how we are going to run the country, right? And that's when it look at it, that's like a kind of hypocritical statement, right? You literally came into the country of Venezuela, invaded it, took their president, and now you're gonna say that here's what we're looking for: a safe legal way to say things could happen. That is just madness, right?
Country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in and.
Right, and everybody's involved. If you think that the allies of Venezuela, just go and sit down and just be like, we allies, because a lot of other countries profit from Venezuela, right? So of course they're going to get involved.
We have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about.
Right? So that's what we're all about, right? So that's what happened. So the point is they're going to choose men. Um, I don't know if I could guess some more from this article. Um, right? So it was stated that he's going to choose men, right, to run Venezuela, right? So he's now claiming Venezuela in the name of America, right? And that's just Bible prophecy, and that is just, let me go to the book of Revelation 17 and 15, the classic, right? Revelation 17 and 15. So it says, and he said unto me, the water which thou sawest with the top, with the, sorry, Salakia. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nation and tongues, right? So this great whore that sits up on the waters is actually America, right? And you see in here, he's sitting on Trinidad and Tobago, and and she's sitting on Venezuela, right? Because literally saying that, hey, we're going to run Venezuela, right? And when you think about it, right, somebody who sits on a chair or sits on something, right, that possession you can't really move until that person is, done with you. So that's to show you that what America is doing, America is controlling, right? America is literally taking, these nations and doing whatever they want to do with them, right? So he's saying that people wouldn't get involved, and we try to do this in a safe and legal way, but the entire way how he did it wasn't even safe and legal, right? And for people who actually believe, well, this is a big step, this is something good. I even saw people post up on their status, um, all praises to the US. Trump is our God. Um, Trump is our savior and all these other things. Yeah, you have a lot of people who believe because what America doing, right? So like, yeah, you have a lot of people believe because of what America doing, they're safe. You know, like, yeah, Trump could do this and that and that. Thank God we're allies. It's safe and all these other stuff, right? So this man is planning to run Venezuela, right? Make billions. So like, yeah, let me see if I could I had something pulled up. Yes, hold on. Yes, Slovakia, right? But the point is, he's planning to make billions, right? And Slovakia, I found it, right? So it says oil infrastructure. He also says U.S. companies will go into Venezuela to fix its oil infrastructure and start making money for the country, right? But you think they really care about Venezuela to say, we're going to make money for the country and all these other stuff, right? Because if their plan was to make money for the country, right, and help them with the oil and stuff, they would have did it that way. But no, they want total control, right? You think majority of this money and all of this stuff and all of these resources in the name of Venezuela? No, right? So it says U.S. to run Venezuela. Trump says the U.S. is going to run Venezuela until a safe, proper judicious transition of power. He was pressed on how exactly the US would do it, but did not provide details. Right? So he even had in a conference saying that he gonna set up certain men to to run it in an efficient way. Right? Let we go to the book of Ezekiel the 17th chapter, right? Right? And Ezekiel the 17th chapter is the parable about how Nebuchadnezzar came, right, took Israel and set up a puppet, right, Zedekiah, right, to reign over Israel, right? It's the same thing what he's doing now, right? Um, for not just diving too deep in it, if brothers want a breakdown, there's a breakdown on the Watchman for Israel or Cold Cut channel, right? So it says Ezekiel 17 and verse 4. It says, we start at verse 3, and it says, and say, thus said the Lord God, a great eagle with great wings, long winged, full of feathers, which are diverse colors, came unto Lebanon and took the highest branch of the cedar. He the cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it into a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants, right? He took also the seed of the land and planted it in a fruit field. He placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree, right? So this eagle once again going into Nebuchadnezzar and how he took Israel and he set up his own what we call a shadow government, right? Yeah, a puppet, right? We just go to the book of Second Chronicles 36, right? Not diving too deep into this. So, Second Chronicles 36 and verse 10. Second Chronicles 36 and verse 10. So it says, and when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. So it's the same spirit at Babylon, because America is spiritually Babylon today. So you're seeing that same spirit happening on the earth, right? He's literally taking um, nations and taking the kings and all these other things and setting up his own, right? Says we're gonna run it. So he's gonna set up men who is going to be in the name of Venezuela. Let's make Venezuela great again, but it's not in the name of Venezuela. It's in the name of control, right? So you have a lot of tension and things that's going on, right? And you see, this is why the Caribbean didn't even want any dealings with the U.S., because they claim that we are a zone of peace, right? And this is why a lot of these Caribbean countries weren't in support in how um, Trinidad is in support of the U.S., right? And you had a lot of tension on Caribbean islands saying that this woman, the president of Trinidad, sorry, the prime minister of Trinidad, right? She's just like Trump, right? She has no discernment and all of these other stuff, right? So it says they reaffirm the principle of maintaining the Caribbean region as a zone of peace and the importance of dialogue and engagement towards the peaceful resolution of disputes and conflict. CARICOM remains willing to assist toward that objective, right? So CARICOM didn't want, this man, you know, in their country, you know, um, doing things like this, setting up radars and setting up things like this, and you know, so all of this is happening, right? And you have a lot of tension on the earth, right? So what we would do is continue to watch and continue to, pray also too, that when more times like these come on the earth, that you could basically escape it, right? Because things not going to get better. Things not going to be, for example, after this, well, um, maybe things going to get better. Maybe Trump going to really help the world. Trump going to help America, right? But when was America ever great for the people of God, right? The children of Israel, right? When was America even great for the nations, right? Just going back to Revelation 17 and verse 16, right? Right, Revelation 17 and verse 16. So, okay, bear with me. So it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Right? So these nations, right, the allies, we know these 10 horns really goes into the EU, right? But all nations right now, especially too, are fed up with America, fed up with all the trouble that they go through, and expect people to back them up and support them, threaten them, and all these other stuff, right? People fed up with all of this, because all nations on the face of the earth not going to see this as, they seen this as what the hell, they ain't seeing this as, maybe this is a good thing, right? A lot of nations is seeing this as, the beginning of a new world war, right, which we know is prophesied to happen, right? um, right. So with that, um hopefully it was edifying, just some information, and shed some light on what's going on here in Trinidad. As I said, that the video wouldn't be um too long, right? It was just some updates, some points, right? And just a refresher also too onto what's going on, right? So make sure brothers reading, studying, praying, right? We seeing here that the day of the Lord is dawning, right? And more times like this and more things is to come. And any more updates, especially what's going on here in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Brothers will inform brothers, and you know inform on what's going on too, especially too, right? So, Khan, with that, Shalom, Israel.